So, welcome everybody. Today, we're going to dive into the world of breath work, specifically to help you release trauma. I'm going to go over 5 different life-changing, in my opinion, techniques that can help you shift you out of whatever nervous system state you are. So, as we all know, trauma, it lurks in the tissues. The issues is in the tissues. It's not just a saying. It's real. It's a thing, right? So, when we experience dysregulation, and when I talk about trauma, I'm talking about the big T's, I'm talking about the little T's, I'm talking about those situations where you felt simply unsafe. You didn't feel like yourself. You didn't feel safe, is the word I'm going to use. You didn't feel connected. You didn't feel loved. You didn't feel worthy. Whatever word you want to use, that's the word you want to like fill in the blank with. But it's the aftermath. It's not the event. So we're in a car accident. We could both be in a car accident together, and I could be totally fine where you could be like completely shut down and like comatose, and you don't want to talk, you don't want to move, you're stiff, the whole bit. All of our nervous systems have a story. All of us have different experiences. And so the portal that I'm going to talk about to help you dive into releasing the stuckness that you have in your body, and that stiffness or the pain or the dysregulation that you have or the trauma that you have in your body. The portal I'm going to talk about today is breath work. And why breath work? Because breath work is something that we can bring attention to quite easily and be able to shift in 2 to 3 breaths. It can literally shift you very, very quickly. There's, so many different ways, and the way you can shift the nervous system from vagal nerve stuff to lymphatic exercises to some trauma informed things. I'm all about movement snacks. A lot of people, like, you follow me on Instagram. I'm all about like movement hacks. Like yesterday I showed, if you have a headache, you do a vagal break. Like, it depends on, there's all these different ways, but breathing, I find, is a way for you just to come into the moment and be aware what's happening right here and now, and how can I help my body feel safe in this moment. So there are way more than 5 different breathing techniques that you could try. So every single one of you, like, if you're watching this, if you're here, you've tried breathing and you've done different breathing drills, and there are certain breathing drills that resonate with you and some that don't. And the question I'm gonna dive into a little bit: why would 4-2-1 versus 4-4-4-4 or 4-7-8, or nostril breathing, or a psychological sigh? When should I do which one? Right? And this is where the question, because it's so overwhelming. Like, how do I know which breathing drill to do and whatnot? So I'm going to dive into a little bit, like, if you're feeling blank, this might be a good one. Okay. So that being said, if you don't know much about your nervous system, if you're not really aware of your colors, so when I say nervous system colors, I talk about the polyvagal theory. What's important for you to understand is we have to bring awareness to, like, what am I actually feeling? Do I just feel stuck? And if that's you, that's okay. But there's going to be certain breathing drills. So like when I talk about the polyvagal theory, I talk about the red zone versus the orange versus blue versus yellow. There are going to be different breathing drills. It's like asking somebody who's in a fight or flight sympathetic yellow zone, asking them to slow down and do a meditation. They're like, no, my body can't slow down right now. Do not ask me to do that. So if you're that person, you're like, I can't meditate. It's all good. It's because you're in the yellow zone. So what we have to do is find the modality and find the breathing drill, I guess, if you will. Find the breathing drill that will resonate with you. Does that make sense? So the idea is you might have to do a little bit of investigative work, but like I said, I'm going to show you 5 that kind of cover the basis if you're, stuck in any of those 4 colors, to help you keep working. Because a big thing is, when you're traumatized or when you experience trauma, what's the biggest problem that people have? Is that they can't get a breath all the way down. They can't get a deep breath. It feels like it's stuck in the chest. It gets stuck right in the sternum area. You can't get it right down. You feel like you're hyperventilating. It just feels hard. It's just hard to breathe. And you breathe fast and shallow, and you just can't get down there. So that's where, depending on what zone you're in, you might need a few sensations and a few tools to help you get that deeper breath. Cool? So breathing, is a fantastic way to heal our bodies and bring us into the moment. So, yeah, I'm coming at this from a trauma informed perspective. So I'm not I have taken my yoga training and I have taken different breathing courses. But this is really just use this as I'll use the word therapeutic. It's a therapeutic practice to bring you into the conscious mind and you into the moment. That's really what it's about. Okay. So when you practice breathing, um, like we breathe every day, I can give you the whole like classic thing. If this is the first time you ever seen me, like most people breathe between, I don't know, what is the research? It's like 20, I'm gonna go lowball it, 20,000 to 25,000 times a day. So then I'll ask all of you, if anybody wants to go in the chat, how many breaths should we be breathing in a minute? How many breaths in a minute should we be doing? So a lot of people are like, let's do that. Let's test where you're at right here, right now. Okay. So I'm going to put a minute on. I'm going to put my stopwatch. Okay. So, what I'd like you to do is just count how many breaths. Don't change your breathing. Please just breathe as you are right now. I just want you to bring like awareness. Inhale and exhale is one breath. Okay. So I just want you to count how many times you're doing that. All right. Okay. Let's begin. Breathe in. And the timer is on. Just notice, don't try to change anything. And however you breathe, in through the nose or out through in the mouth, whatever, it's all good. That's 30 seconds. Fifteen more seconds. 10. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. All right. In the chat, how many breaths did you get in your minute? Let's share. What kind of numbers did we get there? 6, 12, 9, 13, 18. Okay. All right. So this is just awareness. Okay. 21. Okay. So what we're doing is bringing awareness to our breath. So now who wants to answer how many breaths should we be taking on average per minute? Do we know? In the chat? Amra's got it. It's actually 5.5 breaths a minute. Okay. So if you're breathing more than 5.5 times a minute, what does that mean? Right? What does that mean? It means our nervous systems are stressed out. That's what it means. It means you're breathing faster than your brain thinks is under stress. And when we're under stress, we try to get more oxygen in. It's in a panic. Okay. So your nervous system is in a bit of a panic. So what we're doing is we need to bring awareness to that. Like, but I feel fine. I'm sitting here, I'm on a call, or, I'm watching this on a replay and I feel fine. But what's happening internally, what's happening on our inside. So that's why they say, like, if you do all the research shows, what does breathing offer us biologically and physiologically? It allows us to reduce our stress. It promotes relaxation. It allows us to heal. It allows us to release emotional tension. It really does, right? But if we're constantly breathing more than 6 times a minute, then what does that mean? It means we can't heal. Yeah, you're funny. So what does it mean? It means that we're not in a state of healing. We're more in a state of protection. Okay. So what's important? So if you're that person that you've been like, I'm on this healing journey and I'm doing all the stuff and I still feel stuck. Well, if you haven't addressed your breathing and you're not breathing on average about 6 times a minute, and sometimes it's going to be good. Some days it's not, right? So we need to bring more awareness to how you're breathing. Okay. So like I said, there's various modalities and various methods of breathing. But at the end of the day, what we're doing is that I'm actually going to list off 9 different positive reasons why you should practice these breathing drills, or one of one or all of them. It's really up to you. Okay. So what does breath work actually do to the body? It actually has a profound effect on the body. And that's why I'm talking about it. And that's why it's getting its own talk, its own session, and its own, uh, this whole hour or however long we're going to be, to talk about the overall well-being of what you can do to just start shifting your breathing. So the first one is stress reduction. So breath work actually triggers a certain type of breath work actually triggers a relaxation response. Okay. So it gets you a parasympathetic or rest and digest. It reduces stress and anxiety. So if you struggle with stress and anxiety, like a lot of us do in this day and age. So breath work is something that we definitely, should look at. Oxygenation. That's a little bit harder to say. Oxygenation. So it increases your oxygen supply. Okay. So boosting energy and mental clarity. So those of us, does anybody bonk at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Right. Or you find like you can't like, are you that person, you tell people like, okay, I need to do my work in the morning because I have more mental fatigue and brain fog in the afternoon. I got to do my work in the morning, right? So if you're that person, your breathing is off. And so what's happening in the morning is you're actually breathing, you're getting more oxygenation. Oh my God, I have a hard time saying that word. You have more oxygen circulating through your body in the morning than you do in the afternoon. Okay. So it's like, email apnea. Has anybody ever heard of that before? So people actually hold their breath when they check their emails because, you hear the ping, and actually social media, they're starting to see that. So people actually breathe faster and actually hold their breath while they're scrolling through social media. So that can then again impact how much oxygen is flowing through the body. So that's why we want to bring more awareness to it. The heart. And so if you have blood pressure issues, if you have heart issues, breathing, deep breathing will help lower your heart rate. It's proven. So if those people who have white coat syndrome, for instance, you go to the doctor, you see the white coat and your blood pressure goes bing, it could be lots of different reasons, but breath work is certain breathing, strategies can help you regulate your breathing and regulate your heart, your blood pressure. Lung function. So there's definitely a virus going around right lately. I'm hearing this quite a bit. It's not COVID, but a lot of people are getting sick and they have this like lingering cough, and it lasts for like 3-4 weeks. And it's just like this nagging cough. So by being able to breathe horizontally, because many of us, when we breathe, if you actually assess and look at how you breathe, many people breathe vertically, right? So the lungs actually expand horizontally. They do, it goes vertically as well. So we want movement, but many of us, when we're traumatized or when we experience dysregulation or stress, our breathing, our rib cage doesn't move because it's very constricted and our tissues are holding it tight in order to protect us from future dangers and whatnot. So it definitely improves your lung capacity. So when you do get viruses and bacteria and whatnot, you're able to, breathe through those things. Detoxification is a big one. So when I talk about lymphatics in particular, your lung movement and your breath work will help you remove waste and it will help support the lymphatic system. It's a big one because with your breath work, you're moving the diaphragm. It's your main muscle that's going to be able to move all the organs, and it's going to be able to squeeze, like do that manual pump, because the lymphatic system does not have a pump. So when you breathe, you're able to actually start move that lymph so you can get that stagnation, in particular right in the center, right below. So if everybody just real quick, let's assess where you're at the beginning. Everybody grab their sternum. So if you see me in the camera, grab the sternum, push up a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right, and just check in. Is that tender? Yes or no? We're just checking on it right now and to see what's going on. So when that's tender, that's a sign that your body's in a state of protection. That's a sign that you're in a state of contraction. So there are a lot of nerves, blood vessels, the cisterna chyli is hanging out there. The vagus nerve hangs out in there. And if those are blocked, my friend, things are going to feel stuck. So we're going to have to try to unblock that, and using different breathing drills will help us do that. Pain management. Who struggles with pain here? No one. We're good. Yeah. So, those aches and pains, the back pain, like the hip pain, foot pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, whatever pain, it definitely helps ease your pain perception and promotes relaxation. Okay. Certain types. So we'll talk about what actually helps you elicit a parasympathetic or relaxation state. What kind of breathing do you need to do in order to do that? Emotional regulation, it's a big one. Definitely breath work helps you regulate your emotions a little bit more. There are different breathing drills that you can that can help you manage your emotions. So if you're someone that struggles more with anxiety versus depression, you're going to be using different breath work, right? So we'll talk about that today a little bit more. The mind body connection, big thing is, I talk a lot about this. 300 years ago, some white guy said, the brain and the body are separate, and the brain rules the roost, and it's all about it's all about the brain. It's all about what happens up here. But now when we actually understand the nervous system, when we actually talk about the enteric nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, it's all about what's actually your first brain is your gut, because that's where 80% of your afferent nerve fibers start in your gut and they go to your brain. So in order for us to heal trauma, we have to get into the body, because this is where the trauma happens. Trauma doesn't happen up here, right? That's why the brain doesn't feel pain. The body does, right? Because the body feels the sensations. So by using and practicing breath work, we're able to shift the sensations and notice what sensations are happening inside our body. And when I talk about sensations, I also want to make a point of saying there's sensations from an interoception, and there's sensations from an exteroception, and then we have sensations from a proprioceptive perspective. So are you feeling the sensations on the inside, or are you feeling more of the sensations on the outside, or where I am in space? Okay. There are differences. So depending on your history, your story, your experiences, and your nervous system, you're going to be able to tune in to one of those three types of sensations to help you shift. Okay. Because it's like, I find a lot of times in yoga, it's all about interoception. It's all about feeling the sensations from the inside. Whereas if you go to more, I don't know, like a Pilates class, maybe they're going to be focused more on the exteroception, like where you are in space, what's contracting, what's not, what's happening on the outside of our bodies, right? How you are on the mat. Are you sitting up nice and tall? So it depends on the instructor, depends on the class that you're taking. Which way are we going to influence that mind-body connection does matter. And especially, for you, it's important to know, like, so if you're going to, if I asked you to visualize yourself, are you that person that you can visualize yourself and you see you're in your body and you're doing it? Or are you in the stands and you're watching yourself doing it? What type of sensations and what type of experience do you have with understanding your sensations at the end of the day? Okay. And then number 9 is your immune function. Breath work straight up, it helps you reduce stress, it improves your immune health. And that's a big one that, when we're sick, what happens when you're sick? You can't breathe because your nose is clogged, you got mucus coming out of everywhere. So the way, to help you, move, we don't, like, my dad and I just did a podcast all about, getting sick and how to combat the sickness this fall, rather than taking, the vaccine shot. What are other ways that you can do that? And breath work is definitely there because it helps improve your immune function. So regular practice can maximize these benefits. And the question is, like, how much breath work do you need to do? How long do you need to do it? My answer is always yes. I'm not going to put parameters on it, because if you can give me 3 breaths a day, I'll start there. If you can give me 5 minutes, fantastic. If you give me an hour, beautiful. Whatever time that you can allow, if you have to do it while you're shuttling your kids back and forth, and that's the only time you can do it, and you're stop at a stoplight, and that's when you're going to do it, great. If you're going to do it, like while you're cooking, if you're going to do it while you're brushing your teeth, yeah, you could do it while you're brushing your teeth, like whatever. It takes a little bit of focus because you got to do it through the nose. There are different ways in which you do it. So for me, it's more about something like you do it every day, but I want to bring more awareness and bring more attention to it. Specifically, especially if you have trauma that in your body and you want to release it. Okay, cool. Any questions? Questions, comments, concerns? No. Okay. So the first one, let's dive right into those exercises. Because that's why you're all here, right? Everybody's ready to practice. Okay. So again, for you to practice these, I'm going to invite you to practice, like, the key for me is safety. So as long as you feel safe in the space in which you're doing this, that's what really matters to me. Okay. So if you feel safer laying on your back, if you feel safer standing up, if you feel better sitting in a chair, whatever, I'm good with whatever you feel good doing these. Okay. It's all about what sensations do you feel when you do the exercise. Okay. So it's more, I want to, again, bring awareness to which one really worked for you today. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to go for 5. I could be here like all day and give you a whole bunch of different other ones. But today, the first one I'm going to start with is the heart focused breathing. That's what I call it. So this one, what you're going to do is we focus on grounding. Okay. So this is a fantastic one. If you're feeling disconnected, if you're feeling like your head is in the clouds, like you're not here in the present moment, if you're feeling, the color I'll use is orange. If you're feeling the orange, if you're feeling functional freeze, this is a good one to help you get out of that frozen orange state, that functional freeze state. Okay. Because this particular drill will help you engage your parasympathetic system and it's also going to boost your energy. It's going to give you clearer thinking. It's going to improve your body function and have less pain. Okay. So a lot of times, many people, when they're frozen, they're stuck because all their body's like, right? All their tissues are contracted, but they still go through the motions because that's what we got to do. This is how we live our life. So, it's all about, this one is really about healing, sending a healing vibration. So we want to shift the energy that you're feeling in your body. So it's a healing heart vibration, and that really shifts the energy in what you're feeling. So how to do this one is you're going to place one hand on your heart, and then you're going to, you can place one hand on the front of your head, the back of your head, or your throat, or if you're comfortable. So I'm an options girl. Haven't figured that out yet. So whatever feels safest for you, you can go both hands here, one hand by head, or one hand here. Okay. So what we're doing is we're trying to bring awareness to our heart. So when you I like to start with rubbing my hands to bring some heat. I love heat. My part of my trauma is my body temperature is typically cold. So I'm going to place both hands on my heart. Okay. And what I want you to do is we're just going to slowly, I'll time it out, but you're just going to slowly breathe in for a count of 5 or 6. So 5.5. And then we're going to breathe out for 5.5. Okay. How many breaths do we do? I typically do 3 breaths. Okay. So you can do this up to 3 minutes. Magic number is 3. And why do I pick 3? Everybody remember? 1 for yin, 1 for yang, and 1 for me, you. Right? So I do things in 3s. All right. So go ahead. If your feet are planted on the ground, whatever position you're comfortable in, go ahead. And I'd like you to breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to allow you to keep going, but what I want you to focus on, just keep your breathing going at that pace. And what I want you to do is focus on a memory that evokes a positive feeling of joy, love, peace, gratitude, or compassion. Just focus on something that really makes you say, yeah, I love this person. I love this food. I love this place. I'm really grateful for this. Just bring that awareness and bring that energy into your heart center as you breathe in for 5 and breathe out for 5. If you want to go slower, you're more than welcome. There's no right or wrong. If you're that person that you're struggling with the 5, that's okay. You can go for 4, inhale for 4, out for 4. We're just trying to get the timing of the energy so that you can feel more comfortable knowing this is the breath rate in which we want to live your life. This is the breath rate that we want to live and exist in this space. Okay. All right. Give me one more breath. Breathe it in and breathe it out. And when you're ready, come on back. Woo! You felt the shift there, didn't you? Yeah. A couple of yawns. So this is what happens. So a parasympathetic response, what does that look like? A sigh, a swallow, a yawn. Okay. So if you did that breathing and you got a sigh, a swallow, or a yawn, please know that you just elicited a parasympathetic response. Your nervous system just shifted. If you didn't get that yet, that's okay. may need to go a little bit longer. That's where the 3 minutes would come in. We did that for about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes ish, like 2:10 ish. So the other thing you can do is, remember when we checked the sternum here? You can go back up and you can press right or left. If it was tender, check that out and see how that feels now. Okay. How did that, just notice, how did that feel for you? And notice, like, oh my God, there's no way I can breathe that slow. Like, that's just, or that was too fast for me, or whatever. It's just more about awareness as to what is working for you at this place. Okay. I'm missing all this stuff. I'll swallow. Okay, a swallow's fine. Yeah, that's a parasympathetic one. Yeah. My tenderness reduced. Beautiful. That's beautiful. So those are all wonderful signs that that you're shifting your nervous system, right? So the big thing with this one is the awareness of what is the breathing rate? So practicing this one allows you to get more in tune with, this is the pattern that I should be breathing with every single day. And then when you bring your energy to your heart center, you're able to then shift this, all the molecules and all the cells and all your fascial tissue to align with that energy. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool one. Okay. Some people, they're like, I don't do the gratitude thing. I don't feel gratitude for anything in my life. And that's okay. Like, I don't know what love feels like. And that's okay. So this one may not resonate with you right now. If you're like, I can't find anything positive in my life right now. Okay. No problem, my friend. It's all good. There's some other ones that we can focus on. Okay. Are there any questions about that one? Is this the heart math type of breathing? Yeah, depending on how you set if you set the parameters that way. Yeah. So it's more, it's rhythmical, right? And so that's the thing is, it's like in yoga, it's what yoga is really about. The essence of it all is to be able to withstand staying in one position for a long period of time, because we're not designed to do that. We're just, as humans, we're not designed to sit still. But this is the problem, is that most of us, that's what we do now. And that's why we're always sore. We sit too long. We don't stand too, like, we do too much. We do things too much because of modern day conveniences. But yoga allows us to move the tissues and move the oxygen. So heart math, it's that pattern. So you can set it faster, you can set it slower, and then you watch your heart coherence. Like, were you able to focus your energy on yourself, or did your mind go over to la la land, right? Were you thinking about, oh, I gotta, pick up the car, I have this errand to run, I gotta do this, that, and the other, right? Where does your energy go? And that's part of like the whole meditation piece. But yeah, so this one, it does help you align with that heart coherence for sure. Do you know what your heart coherence is? If you don't, that's okay, but it's all good. But that's where heart math's a beautiful tool to help you, bring that energy so that we radiate, we radiate from here. Like, this is where we make our decisions from. Okay. So the second breathing is probably, I'm going to be biased, this is probably my favorite one, or a variation of this, and it's 4-7-8 breathing. This is a relaxation breath. So the reason I love it so much, because I've spent most of my, like, at least half of my life in pain. Like, I'm no stranger to pain. There's something always sore in my body at some point, and that's a big reason why I'm here today and why I'm doing what I do. Today, I don't have as much pain as I used to. That's the good news. So I know this one works, and it's a great way. For the way I look at this one is, if you're someone that wants to focus on interoception, you're like, I'm really not attuned to like feeling on the insides, 4-7-8 allows you to do that. And why? How 4-7-8 works is that you inhale for 4, you hold for 7, and you exhale for 8. So that hold is the magic of this entire practice. And why? Because that hold allows me to actually lean into the tension patterns that I'm feeling from the inside. It allows me to hang out with, if I'm feeling any buzzing or constriction or tightness or tension or whatever's happening from my from my ears down to my pelvic floor. This one allows me to lean into the trauma that may be stuck there. Okay. So essentially think of this one as like you're giving your insides a big hug. Okay. I love all the yawning. You're like, I've already shifted you. So it'd be interesting with like doing all 5 of these. So so 4-7-8. So again, I'm going to put my timer on and I'll time you out. So we'll do 3 breaths of 4-7-8 to see how you feel. Again, this one, positioning, whatever position. Obviously, I don't necessarily recommend these. Well, you could try to do it when you're driving, but probably not the best place. This is more like at a stoplight type thing, during the commercials, like when I used to watch TV with commercials during the commercial break. This is the kind of breathing you would do during the commercial break, right? Okay. So, I invite you to close your eyes, because when you close your eyes, it allows you to get more into interoception. But again, if you don't feel safe closing your eyes to do this, it's all good. But you're going to be taking a deep breath through the nose, and then we're going to count to 4, and then you're going to hold that breath, and then we're going to exhale through the nose or the mouth, whatever you're comfortable with, for a count of 8. Okay. So the hard part, I think, is when you do it the first time, people are like, and they're like, I have no more air out. Especially when you're traumatized. We tend to want to take another breath in really quickly. So it's just that, so this one, if you have anxiety, so I like this one. Personally, it's for me, this is a yellow zone one. So that's survival. If you've been stuck in yellow or survival zone, sympathetic stress, this is a great one to help you shift out of the yellow zone. Okay, cool. Are we ready? Here we go. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in. 2, 3, 4. Out. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll let you to keep going. Try to go on your own, but I want you to notice, what are you feeling when you hold? Just notice what's showing up. Notice your tension pattern on that hold. That's where the magic happens on this one. And then give yourself one more breath, and then we'll come on back. Because we could do all these breathing drills for like a long time. Good stuff. All right. How did you feel after that one? Did you get another sympathetic response? Did you get a parasympathetic break? Did you do another yawn? I need a nap. This is a nap, essentially, right? This is allowing you that space to get that nap, a yawn. Okay. So there was a break there, right? So did you notice your tension pattern? Where were you holding tension? Did you notice there was I felt it underneath my shoulder blades, my shoulders, my neck, my chest. Felt relaxed, noticed major tension in my left shoulder. Beautiful. So when you're just sitting here, you don't necessarily notice it, right? But then when we hold that tension pattern on the inside, that's allowing you to dive in more from the interoception. You're giving that part a hug right above your diaphragm. Okay. And so this is where, if you continue with that practice, what you find out is that as you can do more breaths, that tension pattern will then dissipate. So then we just bring, awareness to it. And then all we're doing is that when we hold, when you exhale, allow the energy to be, that's where remember, your lungs are detoxifying. Your lungs are detoxifying that energy out as you breathe out. Super tender when I just touch that area. What, your shoulder? Yeah. So it's feels like a bruise, right? So that's the exteroception part. I didn't know, but now interoceptively, I brought awareness to it, and then I touch it and I'm I didn't even know. So this is where we are literally bringing in interoception with exteroception. There you go. Very cool. Very, very, very well done. So for me, I've lived in a survival state. So that's why I've loved this one. Because it really helps me bring awareness to what I'm feeling on the inside. Because I'm so busy in my life that I'm I don't pay attention. My body, that's why I'm in pain all the freaking time, because I don't pay attention. I don't have time to slow down and pay attention. And that's the unfortunate part, right? So Yeah. So that's why I love that one. But I'm biased. This has been my own personal experience. So I don't want to like push my personal experience onto you. So that's where we're going to try the Navy SEAL breathing drill that everybody pretty much knows about. If you struggle with anxiety, this is the breathing drill they tell you. This is the one to help you reduce anxiety, stabilize your emotions, and enhance, again, all of them are about mental focus because they're all going to bring energy in. Okay. But box breathing is just a structured breathing. Why do I love box breathing, especially for trauma work? Is because many people who experience trauma have a hard time holding their breath after the exhale. Okay. Holding your breath after the exhale is very magical because that hold allows for your oxygen to travel. It creates the CO2 in your body, creates this pressure in your body to then be able to oxygenate more parts of your body. So we talked about why do we do breath work? Well, oxygenation, right? And that's why we don't always hold after the inhale. We also hold after the exhale. It's very magical. That's why they practice it. It's really good. But for those of you that do have a trauma experience, this one can be hard. You're like, I don't like this one. Or you do it and you can't get the pattern, right? You can't go 4 4 4 4 4. You can't go do that one. Or you want to go longer, which is totally fine too. I'm going to do the typical, I'll do 4 4 4 4 today. So we're going to do 3 around the box, 3 times. What color? So this one would be, again, it's a more of an orange. It's more of an orange. So it's more of a frozen one because of the breath hold. It could be a red. This one could be a red. Yeah, it could be red depending on, like if you're absolutely frozen, because what you're doing is we're bringing in the holds after the inhale and the exhale. So yeah, I'm going to say red and orange for this one. Okay. Yeah, so if you don't know how this one's done, what you're going to do is you're going to breathe in through the nose. Again, I invite you to close your eyes when you're doing this to notice what you're feeling during the holds. The holds are the magic, right? It's like music. What's the most important part of music? It's the space between the note. What's the most important part of your breath? It's the space between the next breath. That's where the magic happens. That's where the healing happens. And that's really what we want to tune in with. Okay. So I want you to notice what happens when you hold your breath after the inhale, and then what happens when you hold your breath after the exhale. Okay. Let's bring awareness to the table. Let's see what shows up. Are we ready? Again, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose or out through the mouth is totally, whichever feels better for you at this point. Okay. Here we go. Go ahead and breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. In. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. In. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. If you want to continue on, I'll let you do that. But otherwise, what did you feel what was the difference between holding after the inhale and holding after the exhale? What did you notice? What showed up for you? Your body feels tighter. Yeah. It's fat. I find it really fast. 4 4 4 4 is just like, I need to go slower. It's almost more anxiety because I got to get the timing right. Right. So I realized too, sensations in your head. I feel like I need to exhale longer. Okay. Right. So that's a trauma response, right? It's just like there's an imbalance. So we don't have homeostasis. So what this is trying to do is create homeostasis, right? And that's where when we don't have that, that means there's some imbalance that's happening in there. So that's why, like for me, when I breathe, my trauma response is I'm not very good at holding after the exhale. I don't. And then if you add counting to it, that stresses me out even more. But also if you know my history, I used to had to count my strokes, and I was a swimmer and all that stuff. So counting and doing this stuff, that's why it's funny. Like if I'm training you one-on-one, there's no secret. I'm not very good at counting your reps. I'm just not, because it's more like I look at your body and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm not good at counting because it's a trigger for me. Counting, because then it puts me more in a stress state, right? Okay, I'm coming back to you. I noticed I don't breathe past my shoulders and the upper chest. Interesting. Okay. And tension in my stomach during the holding. When we did the counting earlier, I felt like it sped up because I was doing performance type breathing. Interesting. Yeah. So again, good awareness. So that's the thing. That's why we practice these different ones to see, what resonates with you. Because honestly, these breathing drills are literally linked to a story that you've been telling yourself in your past for the last however old you are. There's a story there. So that's why some breathing works for you and some don't. And that's where when people come in and tell you, you need to breathe this way, and I can't do it, I feel like a schmuck. I have shame. I'm like, why does my body breathe this way? Because you have a story, because you haven't really identified what your nervous system needs. And like you're sitting here trying to analyze, like, what's the story? Why does my breathing why can't I hold after the exhale very long? Why can't I hold? Why do I always feel like I have to inhale again? Right. So, anyway, so these are all important things to bring awareness to when we do our breath work. Okay. Cool. Any questions from that one? So that's why I'm like, I don't personally always go right to box breathing, because to me, like you, it induces a little bit more stress. It is a little bit stressful. So that's why, again, freeze, it could be freeze, it could be red, depending on the color of where you're at. Okay. Okay. The next one, we got 2 left. The next one I'm going to do is alternate nostril breathing. So this is pretty much your classic yogic breathing. The reason I love this one is for those of us that have trauma, for those of us that have dysregulation and our bodies and our bodies don't move as well. So let's say you're somebody that you fall a lot, or you're clumsy, or you can't pick up things, or you're very dominant on one side of your body. So for me, I'm like, that was kind of the joke as a swimmer. Everybody used to make fun of my swimming because I was so dominant on my right side. I was basically like, my left side just kind of like came along for the ride when I do a stroke, but the right side, I was so strong and dominant. I was like, yeah. And then my right side be like, okay. And it was just like this whole, it's very gallopy. So I had a very awkward stroke. But it got me where I needed to be, right? Because it does tell me a lot, right? So essentially, why is alternate nostril breathing so powerful is because it actually activates both hemispheres of the brain. This is really, really important. So bilateral stimulation. So if you are like one side dominant, or you know that you have one eye that's stronger than the other. So, like if you have one side that's completely dominant, alternate nostril breathing is a fabulous one to bring you back into homeostasis, like it comes back to center. Okay. Because we're going to activate both hemispheres. Like the way I do it from a neurological perspective is we do the cerebellum test, and we check to see how well is your cerebellum firing on one side versus the other. You could do, instead of doing figure 8s to bring you back online, like brain gym exercises, you could do alternate nostril breathing, because it's activating both hemispheres of the brain. It's a beautiful exercise. It's fantastic. However, those people who have sinus problems, deviated septums, it's stressful for you, right? You probably have stuff going on up here, don't you? Yes, exactly. So that's why, so for those of you that do have the deviated septums, that do have the sinus stuff, it is extremely, because you're like, I can't get a breath in. You're like, oh my God, I can't get in there, right? It's like, what the, I need to open instead of close, right? And I get it. I get it, because that's how I felt when I was doing my yoga training, my yoga teacher training. I was like, this does not work for me. But it's also because I got bonked in the face how many times, and I have some damage from on my nose and my eye, that affects how much air I get on one side versus the other. So again, your physical stature, how you breathe, will impact this one. Okay. So because it doesn't work for you, do one of the other ones we did that you like. Okay. So if you know any of these breathing, that's a good point. If any of these breathing drills, if they do stress you out and you know that, then I mean, I wouldn't say to avoid it because we want to explore it a little bit because it's information. So if you do a drill and you're like, this does not work for me, well, what's going on? Like it's information, and we can use that to help us understand a little bit more about our own nervous systems and about our bodies. Like deviated symptoms, yeah, that makes a difference. You're not going to be able to get the oxygen up there as well, right? And this comes to brings up a point of somebody was asking me about, like, when do I breathe through my mouth versus when do I breathe through my nose, right? So when I breathe through my mouth, it's more of a performance-based activity. I'm going to be breathing through my mouth to create more pressure. Okay. Breath work is all about pressure, and it's all about physics at the end of the day. So if I'm going to be working on an interoceptive practice, if I'm going to be working on, I need to shift or I need to unblock something, I'm going to specifically breathe in through the mouth. Okay. So we're going to do that on the next one, but I just wanted to bring it in right now. Just to say, so it's an opportunity for you to create a different amount of pressure on the inside to help you unblock something. Okay. Versus why am I always breathing through the nose and, breathing out through the nose or breathing out through the mouth. Okay. So it's really up to you. But the idea is what feels more comfortable for your own body. Okay. I'm going to go with that. Yeah. Okay. So alternate nostril breathing, we'll do 3 cycles. How this works is that we always start by inhaling on the left side. Remember, I'm a mirror to you because of the camera, right? So you're going to be opposite. But what we do is we close the right side, and then what we do is we inhale through the left, and then we close it, and then we blow out on the right. Then we breathe in through the right, and then breathe out. Okay, so that's just a quick demo. But when you're doing this, and the thing too is, I'm going to bring this in. Okay, let's say you're that person that always has stuff in their nose. Okay, how do you clear it? This is called a nasal decongestant. This is a bonus. A nasal decongestant breath. Okay, so what you're going to do is that you're going to breathe in, and don't do it yet. I'm going to explain it. Breathe in, breathe out, and then you're going to plug your nose, and then you're going to shake your head up and down or whatever until you get like a pop in the ears, or you go to as long as you can, and you're going to get like a pressure shift. Okay. When you do that, it changes, and it's going to open up all of the stuff that's going on in your head. You might, so if you have a cold, if you do have sinus stuff, like I've been hearing whistling in my ear, like, because I have some congestion going on in my ear. So all of a sudden I'll be hear like a high whiz, kind of like a whistle or something like that in this ear. It's inflammation, and that's part of my issues that I have to deal with. But this one is a great one to help clear that out. Okay. So we do 2 to 3 of them, but I'll just show you. So if you don't need to, that's okay, but I'm just going to show you real quick. So again, it goes inhale, exhale, plug it up. And then you breathe in through your nose. I got to pop. So you're like going to a rock concert. So you can put the hands, yeah, right? So you just move it around. So sometimes what happens is that if you have a headache, you're swashing things around. So you can be gentle and, however you move it, but that movement is allowing the vestibular system. We're unplugging the tubes of the vestibular system to be able to get things moving. Okay. So that's important to do if you're congested before you do alternate nostril breathing. Any questions with that one? No? Okay. All right. So let's give it a go. So again, you're going to inhale. And then, so the timing, so again, depending on who you follow and who you believe in, they're going to say you have to do a certain timing. I'm going to let you play with this one on yourself. Okay. So again, let's test your cerebellum and see if it actually helps your cerebellum. So how do you test your cerebellum? Place one hand in front of you, place the other hand on top. And what you're going to do is you're going to hit knuckles, front and back knuckles, as fast as you can. So the full test is 15 seconds. I'm going to do it for 5, just to give you an idea of what's going on. So ready? Go as fast as you can. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How'd that feel? Like a fish out of water, or you're like solid? I'm like, I could go all day. Good. All right, let's try the other hand. Ready? Breathe in. Breathe in. No, not yet. You can breathe in. Yes, breathe. Ready? Count to go. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm like, my left side. Weird. And I got the stuff going. Weird. It's not a coincidence, my friends. Not a coincidence. All right. So you're going to go to your level. All I want is 3 breaths, but basically we start and end on that left side. Are we ready? For those of you that do not want to do this, please do not pick another one. Go the 4-7-8, do the box, or do the heart centered for 5 and exhale for 5. Okay, cool. Ready? Begin. That's 3 for me. I'm like, I could clear it, and then it got clogged again. Okay, so after you're done, whatever side if anybody had an imbalance, retest it. So I'm going to retest this one. So I'm going to pick my weaker side. Ready? And let's see if that made a difference. 3 breaths. I don't know. We'll see. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, pissed me off. It made it worse. So this is not good for me. Yeah, mine is worse. Same. Okay. So it's too it was too threatening. Too threatening for the nervous system. So the cerebellum's like, whoa, I don't like that. Please don't do that to me. I can't breathe. There's one side that's like not getting the oxygen. So this one's not going to be your best choice. Okay. So we need to be able to assess. That was the first time every worked for me. What? Everything worked for you? Oh, it ever worked. So yeah, it did. So it did improve. All right, well, there you go. So, hey, well done. So that's the thing, is that's why we can't just discard it, because it didn't work today. It doesn't mean it won't work tomorrow or the next day, right? So that's why we practice and try different drills. But it's important to use an assessment. And this is the biggest thing, is that people, they're like, I'm doing the modality, but I'm like, what are you assessing? You want better range of motion? I want deeper breath. Can I touch my toes? All the kind of stuff. So there's so many different assessments that you can offer yourself. But for me, like when I'm doing alternate nostril breathing, cerebellum's an important one, because what I'm doing is I'm getting oxygen to both sides, right? So for me, going back to my figure 8s is a lot more effective, because obviously my issue is more neurological. I need to work more on my eyes than my breathing right now. Does that make sense for everybody who's kind of following along? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So that's why the eyes are important too. All right. And we're going to do the last one. This is like, if you follow Andrew Huberman, you've heard of this one before, the psychological sigh. This one is, it's actually good for all colors. This one's all the colors. And that's why like research has shown why it is so, your favorite. Yeah. It is so effective. And that's why like all the research, like they've tested them all against each other. Right. And this one works well because of all the colors. And why? Because again, it's pressure. You're creating an internal pressure and you're letting it go. Okay. So many of us, so there's another breathing I like, is called 4-2-1. Like from a nervous system perspective, I like to regulate doing a shake, shrug, sigh. So what I'm doing is I'm moving through all the nervous system states. So what the psychological sigh is really doing, it's a mindfulness practice. It's bringing self-compassion. It's allowing you to be in the moment and hang out with the tension patterns that you're experiencing from the inside. Okay. So the idea is, what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 deep breaths through the nose or the mouth. I personally like the mouth because it creates more of a pressure on the inside. And I want you to practice both. I want you to try both. So what it is, you're going to take an inhale, and then you're going to inhale a little bit more, hold, and just let it go. And we try to let it go. So what happens is that if you're somebody that tries to do that and you have a really long exhale, it's like a deflating balloon, and it just takes a long time to get out. That just shows how much stress and how much tension you have pent up inside of you. So the idea when we do that sigh, and sound matters too, my friends. Sound is a very powerful way to shift you, is when you do it, make a sound. Like an audible sigh, it actually tells your body, it tells your brain, hey, we're getting a break right now. We're giving yourself, we're shifting here. We're shifting gears. Okay. So it's an inhale again. Hold, let it go. Whatever, like Amelia. It's called the psychological sigh. Okay. Beautiful one. Now I want you to try it with your mouth. Feel the difference. Feel the difference. Where do you feel the pressure difference? You feel it? I do. Head, pelvic floor. Nice. Head feeling dizzy with mouth breathing. Yes. And that's because of the pressure change. So what's happening is that if you feel dizzy, what you're doing is you're actually creating a pressure. So again, that means the lungs and all the things, it's too much. So the brain's like, whoa, what's this pressure? Like, hey, I don't know. And this is what creates like dysregulation. And because like, then I need to breathe more, but it's not. The more you practice this, the more you'll be able to lean into that pressure, right? You'll be able to create more CO2 in your body to understand that, hey, like when you do CPR, is the pump more important, or is it the, right? It's not the breath, it's the circulation. So what we do is when we create more pressure, we're able to circulate the oxygen and all the things we need in our body to get the organs working, right? The organs got lots. The brain says no, but it's like, ooh. So what we want to do is create a better pressure difference. And so that's why I personally like this one. And then, like you can add movement to it, and it's such a beautiful way. And they can add different sensations to it. It's a beautiful for me. Like I love that he, like Andrew Huberman talks about it a lot. But he just like on the basic level. So that's why you can literally do it while you're driving a car. What did I call it? A psychological sigh. Okay. The sound makes a difference. I'm going to get a little like secret sauce is the sound makes a difference. Okay. Because that signals to the brain. So if you have a lot of anger, scream it out, whatever sound you need to get out of you. There's that sensation you have inside of you has a sound to like link to it. Let it out. This is your opportunity. You might scare your neighbors or your coworkers or whatever, but sound does increase and allows you to release. Yeah, exactly. Monica Seles, that's how old I am. She was like the queen at the time. So yes, it makes a difference because it allows you to get deep, allows you to get to that pelvic floor, allows you to move the tissues, because many women have a lot of pelvic floor issues, and it's because we don't have the pressure exchange down there because we're breathing all up in here. Okay. So that's why it's a beautiful one to get you deeper and practice that pressure change and go from there. Cool. Is that fun or what? Yay. So like I said, there's so many other breathing drills. Like, I showed you like 5.5, like 5 plus a bonus of the nasal decongestant one. There's so many different ones you can do, but hopefully this one, one of these resonates with you. And it's just something that the more you practice it to bring awareness to what's happening in my body will empower you and allow you to heal your tissues and allow you to release the traumas that are happening in your body. And please know that there's a difference between training your organs and training the muscles versus just breathing in and out, right? It's the same idea as like, I'll compare it to like walking versus lifting weights. Okay. There's a difference. It does different things for our body, right? So that's why, like, if you want to train your lungs and you want to train your diaphragm, there's going to be certain exercises and certain drills that you're going to do versus if you're just going to do like just a rhythmical breathing. Okay. So, like I said, like the hand tracing, I didn't talk about that one. Like, I love that one. I could be here like for days, but I'm not. So hopefully this is a good start. If you want to learn more, I share lots of that stuff in my on my free online community. I've got stuff on YouTube. I'll be sharing, like, I'm going to be launching my academy again in February next year, and we're going to be diving into all the different breathing drills as to when should I do what. And so if you're, a practitioner, if you're a coach of something and you're going to be coaching people, come learn how to do that. If you just want to learn it for yourself and understand, like, okay, what are the different drills that I can use for me, and what else can I put in my tool belt? Come learn, because I'm here to share, because it's worked for me, so I'm here to share it. Cool. So if you don't have any questions, that's it that I have for today. But if you do have questions that you don't want to share on YouTube, I'll hit stop, and I look forward to connecting with you next time. All right. And yay for the yawns. Keep yawning, my friends. Keep the gut. Anybody got the gurgles in the belly? Anybody got the swallowing? All that stuff. We invite that. We celebrate those things, because that's a beautiful sign that you've shifted into a rest and digest state. Yay. All right. Thanks so much for being here and spending your time with me today. I'll see you next time.